You can't take this type of stress.
Get off me! CD! No, Dag. I'm giving up on this team and I'm selling it. Every year I can't take the stress of this shit no more. Mike McCarthy, sit your fat ass down. I seen you trying to sneak out the back door. And
you need a seat, sir?
Please sit down. These niggas suck. Get more yards than these niggas. The way they was fucking playing.
Come on, sir.
You know, I didn't think we was gonna talk about Genshin again soon after the mod video, but I imagined we was gonna have to talk about Genshin at some point again soon. And to be perfectly honest, I was actually going to make a video about the negative problems I have with Genshin, but it seems like the Chinese side say, yeah, you best believe you're going to make that damn video, so I guess that's what this is going to be. But when it comes down to things though, I'm making this mainly because the Chinese side is wilding again, which, to be honest, fair, but at the very same time, again with this shit, right? So, for those that don't necessarily know, or didn't pay attention to the damn 4.4 update video that I did talking about what's going to be popping up with it. Essentially, we have, you know, the 4.4 update. Obviously, you're going to have the rewards and stuff that's going to come from that. But for Chinese players, they said, nah, F that. This is not enough yet. So when it comes down to things, because, well, obviously when Lantern Rite happens, that's Chinese New Year, right? So when it comes down to things, though, they don't necessarily like the fact that they're getting so little rewards. And more so, there's a special version of the PlayStation 5 that has Genshin Impact on it, where you can have a skin selector that you have to pay for, and along with that, for the Chinese player base only, you get 3 extra intertwined fate crystals, which allows you to wish for your character that you want to go get, or your weapon that you want to go get. And Chinese players were effing mad. To be perfectly honest, again, understandable, because I have to basically pay for a whole new console just to get something that people, one, have been wanting for a long time, and then 2, also just 3 shots of the crystals when it takes 10 shots to do a full 10 like wish. That's a little weird, especially when we had other things of the sort of the Chinese side that gives you better rewards for even crazier buys and stuff like that, right? So it is a bit strange when it comes down to it. And to be honest with you, one of the things that I don't necessarily understand about Genshin, if I have to get on Genshin's case about anything, is that you are a company that has literally millions upon millions. You got stacks of money, right? You got plenty of stacks. Why, when it comes to Genshin, for some reason, they don't necessarily go as hard as they should? Don't get me wrong. Like I said before, if it wasn't for the fact that we're getting a new place to explore in Leeway, this patch would be shit. I'm not gonna hold you. But we get that, and so I'm personally fine with that. But at the very same time, even I know that this patch feels like, once I got done editing and making that video, I was like, it still feels like we're missing something though. Because it just feels like there should be something more to this, right? And that's kind of how it feels when it comes down to it, right? So when it comes down to Genshin, it's like they have all the tools necessary to use, but for some reason they don't use all the tools. And to be honest, I could kind of give less of a shit about the rewards, but more so just want Genshin as a IP to do something cool and interesting, which we don't ever really get. And if we do get it, it's mainly on the Chinese side, because this is the problem with gaming, at least on the Asian market side of things, right? When it comes to exclusivity, you people hold up so much. Those companies, whether it's people like Japan with Square Enix, or, you know, other games that's out there on that side of the world, or, you know, China with Genshin, they like to hold certain shit up for everybody else, but keep it in their whole home country, right? That's essentially how it goes. Like, for instance, the Kingdom Hearts Ultimania or the Final Mixes, that shit was locked in Japan for like the longest of time, and then barely want to get out of, you know, Japan and try to go into different countries, such as the United States and Europe and all that sort of stuff, right? And it's like, why is it always so damn exclusive, or have exclusive shit to those countries, when other people from different countries would buy equally that stuff, right? I feel like people would equally buy that stuff, or would want that stuff, but you only get it for basically the one side of the world. This is the problem with catering to one side of the place. It's that literally you had to try to think of, okay, how can we impress the people over here and also impress everybody else in different territories? That's not good. If anything, it should be either really good across the board, whether it's a different item or whether it's a different product that you're basically going to give each territory. It should be a different product that be equal to everybody, or it should be the same product that's equal to everybody. But they don't do that, and it's so weird. And in Genshin's case, it's again another thing that is very weird when it comes down to it, right? And again, Hoyoverse has a lot of money they can play around with. I know Genshin ain't the only game they got, but they have money to play around with, honestly. Which is why, for instance, instead of trying to go after them for a reward, why not go after them for having maybe a collaboration character, right? Now, I know Genshin obviously has a shit ton of characters, and it doesn't necessarily need to be bogged down with a whole bunch of characters that has nothing to do with Genshin Impact as a whole. But, first of all, do we really want Aloy to be like the only and last collaboration character ever? I don't think so. But you have people that you could fit into that role. Just for a few examples, one, you got anybody from Persona, mainly Persona 5, which you could add in Joker. He will fit right into Fontaine, much less, or Haru. You could fit in right into Fontaine. That would be fine, right? Or, if you really want to go spicy with it, you can go to Final Fantasy. You can add in Cloud Strife, who has equally been in nature, who has also been into fantasy settings because the damn title of the damn game, a series of what it is, right? You can add in Tidus from Final Fantasy X if you wanted to. Hell, I even take Clive Rossfield from 16. That would be a fair fit. That would be fun. Not this Lucius Kylum anybody. I feel like that would also be a very well, good collaboration with that. I feel like you can do that. But for some reason, we haven't had a collaboration character. I feel like if you add a collaboration character into Genshin, 100% if it's one of these type of characters, everybody will shut the hell up. Everybody will shut the hell up immediately. They'll be like, oh shit, who hating on Genshin? Who's talking shit about the devs? What are you talking about? We got Cloud over here. What you talking about? What's going on? Like anything like that, you'll be fine in. Or as long as it's like a well-known, female character from something, that will be equally good as well. You could chuck that in if you really wanted to. Why does Genshin not do it? I don't know, but all I'm saying is that it would be nice to see it happen, or at least every so often. Because, I'll be honest with you, collaboration characters should not be bogging down the entire game as a whole, because that would be incredibly, annoying and missing the points of what Genshin is, right? So if you want to throw in, a collaboration character, I don't know, every so often, that would be fine. And that would definitely get people to shut the absolute hell up. And then it could be even more of a crazy time with Genshin if that's what you decide to do in the future. But they haven't done anything like that since Inazuma, so it's been a long ass time. And that's also kind of another problem with these chill patches, because there's gonna be some time and some way to try to complain about something and all that sort of stuff, right? And again, I'm not saying that the Chinese part of this community is in the wrong for wanting some extra shit. Definitely not. But I will say, I don't necessarily 100% agree with the tactic of how they do things, because, yeah, this could potentially hurt Genshin in the long run, much less Hoyoverse as well, because you're not just attacking Genshin, it's also Hoyoverse that you're kind of going against as well when it comes down to it, because now everybody has to be up on a certain standard, which they should have been already, but also with how they are getting attacked in certain ways, it could be detrimental in the long run. If you've noticed any amount of time with the My Hero Academia community and how they basically push Horikoshi to make the writing for, them and their decisions, but it should be also the decision of the creator that's writing the damn story, and now they took full control over the story and kind of just shoved it in a way I don't necessarily care for. It's like, you don't want to have that shit happen to Genshin, especially if it ever came to the story, because dear goodness, that would be the worst thing ever. But when it comes down to things though, you don't want the fans to have too much power, but you shouldn't just straight up ignore them as well, right? There needs to be an equal balance of, let's listen to what they gotta say, much less don't control the shit that we do, because we know what we're doing, right? It's like when sometimes WWE now book a storyline. You may not necessarily like where the storyline is going, you may not necessarily understand what's happening, but when it gets to the ending, or when it gets to the crazy cool parts, then it all makes sense. Then you're like, oh, okay, that was some really good booking right there, WWE. Nice shit, right? And that's what it kind of feels like, you know? I just wish there was a different way of going about this as well, because review evolving this shit is so childish, honestly. And to be honest with us, on the global and western side, let's give it a stack with us. Let's not necessarily just treat Chinese players in a good light. Don't get me wrong, it's not all Chinese players, but when it comes down to things, though, let's not act like they ain't the only people that hasn't, you know, done anything against the global. Like, they've been getting exclusive shit as well as, you know, ruining shit for global people. I mean, all you had to do is mention the Bunny Girl incident from Honkai 3rd Impact, and basically, oh shit, we did get kind of ruined by them. So, should we necessarily, like, lean completely on, yeah, do your thing, Chinese players? Nah, I'm gonna hold up on that one. You gotta prove it to me something else otherwise. Because, yeah, people haven't forgot about that shit, obviously. And it's not just collaborations of characters that Genshin can do. They can make a spin-off game of Genshin if they really want to. A fighting game will be preferable if it came down to things. You can also come through and change the in-game stuff, like the resin system. Not to the point where you have to change it completely and just break, you know, everything. But you can change it to a point where maybe we get, instead of 5 condensed resin, you get 10. Or maybe if you have an overstock of resin in your, you know, your thing on your map, you can easily just say, Mill, I'll just convert it to fragile resin then, if I'm not going to use it. And that's something that should also be equally fun. But we don't have systems like that. I know people usually complain about the you know, the different days of artifacts and, well, not artifacts, but the talent materials. To be perfectly honest, I'm kind of okay with that because I like to log in every day, so, you know, that gives me something to do and play the game for a reason. But still, nonetheless, though, you know, there's other things that you can definitely change. As far as skins go, they can definitely release a lot more skins than what they have been doing previously. Granted, I don't want the whole game to be bogged down in just skins and cosmetics and, you know, accessories and all that type of shit, because plenty of games have done that very wrong, and that's the last thing we need. But when it comes down to it, though, you can definitely release a little bit more skins more often. And matter of fact, why don't you just include a glider with it? Because it will just, you know, one, save the players more money, and then less controversy, to be perfectly honest. If you just give them a glider and a skin at the same time with that, you know, skin, I guess, if you want to just add it into it. You know, like, that would be perfectly fine when it comes down to it. But my whole point is, when it comes down to this video, is not just to talk about the Chinese side, but also to talk about the things I feel like Genshin could do better. And for me, there's not really much I can complain about, because, and don't get me wrong, there is some things I guess that could be said for just the majority of people, like a in-game sort of content type of thing, something that's the opposite of the biz, maybe like a tower trials or something, or a survival mode or something of the sort that you can chuck into the game, or something that can be definitely good for everyone to enjoy. But for me personally, there's not really that much I have to complain about when it comes to the game. I still enjoy my time with the game, despite the many different things I would like to see added to it, mainly the collaborations and, you know, the resin thing, and, you know, the other stuff that I previously mentioned. But still, nonetheless, it's just like, for me personally, I'm pretty damn good. I know a lot of people give Hoyoverse and Genshin, more specifically, a hard-ass time, which, to be honest, I'm not necessarily saying they, you know, don't deserve some of that, but at the very same time, they shouldn't have to be also acting like a different game either, because I feel like that would be extremely annoying. If they just copied everything that Star Rail do, they really would have lost the heart of the game, essentially. They should do something beyond what Star Rail does, to be perfectly honest with you. The only thing we have gotten for it is the anime. And to be honest, this ain't on Genshin, this is more just on, you know, how animation is. It takes about 5 to 4 years to even get a piece of animation done, even longer than that. So to be perfectly honest, it's gonna be a minute before we see that anime. Let's just keep that stacked. People, you already see how people are getting worked over at Mappa. The last thing you need to see is more Japanese people suffering over there trying to work on their favorite shows and games and stuff. So yeah, let's just let them cook. Let them cook. Yeah, I promise you it'll be worth it. But yeah, essentially when it comes to it though, it's just that fact that Genshin has a lot of money they can play around with. They can do a lot of things, right? And it's not, you know, impossible for them to do it, but they just choose not to. And it's kind of crazy how no one has really ever asked for certain things that's beyond rewards. Like, again, the collaboration characters. Like, because again, I feel like if you add in collab characters, that shit would help boost up Genshin in a way where it'll be super good. Much less, it would help boost up Genshin in a way where, you know, people will complain less because, oh shit, we're getting characters from different games and stuff, right? And it can still make sense towards the canon, right? You don't need to break canon into some weird shit. Because I still find it strange to this day how we had sent Fischl and Kaching over to Honkai 3rd, but no one from Honkai 3rd came over to Genshin or anything like that. And as far as rewards go, to be honest, Chinese players, they have a lot of shit. Like, y'all had a whole Cadillac with Kazuha and Beidou painted on it, and yet we didn't get anything like that. And it's like, what are y'all mad about sometimes? Sometimes it's like, what are y'all mad about, bro? Y'all get better shit than we do, and it be some nonsense. Time we get some bunny girl shit, here y'all go to trying to kill us because, oh, y'all got bunny girl shit. Or essentially don't necessarily like that we're liking your waifus or some shit like that. And it's so weird. It is such a weird ass thing. Both sides of the community is some weird ass shit. Can I be perfectly honest with you? And I can understand why people don't necessarily want to touch the damn Genshin community. And it's understandable why no one want to touch the damn Genshin community. Because of this shit right here. Also, to add in one more thing, it's the whole reason why I basically was like, yo, basically Genshin is basically just being like MHA essentially, is because when it comes down to things, obviously I said that the fans is someone that could take control over the story like MHA has done, and it seemingly like that's what they're doing for the dev side of things of Genshin, honestly. And it's again very horrible. But when it comes down to it though, what makes this a little bit more terrifying, or at least when you realize how much power the Chinese player base actually has over global, is essentially they're gonna try their best abuse of the developers into submission, because they could easily just say, oh, well, this game is just anti-Chinese, even though it's effing not. And it's just so, it's kind of a, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a scummy ass move. It's kind of a shitty ass move to try to pull that shit. Like, over some rewards, bitch, you will want the whole game to go down over some fucking rewards? That's kind of wild. Much less when you can get other cool shit that's better than wish material shit. Don't get me wrong, I like my wish stuff. I like my wish stuff. I need that. I'm gonna need that when I get Cloud Retainer. But when it comes down to things though, I still would rather have other things in the game that could be way more better than some effing rewards though. Can I be more specific with you? Like, that's what I really would care for. And again, with the Chinese players basically being able to do whatever, say whatever, and easily threaten the shit out of Hoyoverse as a whole, which could end up being the end for Star Rail, being the end for Third Impact, Zenless Zero before it even starts, and Genshin as well. It's kind of terrifying to see how much power the Chinese side of the player base can actually get. And it's again a reason why it's understandable why no one likes the Genshin community. It makes 10,000 times worth, the sense. Again, you don't need to basically kill everybody that's in your path, that's in an app store, to get what you want, essentially. You don't need to do that. Just make a lot of noise in a way that's not necessarily threatening of everything. It's really not. Because all this shit is doing just basically putting Genshin potentially under the spotlight by the Chinese government even more over something that shouldn't be, and that could honestly end up killing Hoyoverse as a whole. I hope not. They are the biggest gaming employer over there, but considering how much China is trying to get down and cut down with games and shit, it wouldn't surprise me. But when it comes down to it though, yeah, Chinese players are kind of awful in a way, right? They got a point to be mad, but they also can be very awful. Just keep that shit in mind though. But again, my point is, to basically everything, it's just Hoyoverse do need to do better trying to basically have some type of competitive spirit. Show that, oh yeah, we're Genshin, we're a popular game, and we have over 50 million active players for a reason, right? You need to show that there is a reason why Genshin is on top, which would come in the form of something cool and exciting to come through that we never seen Genshin do, or anything else of the sort. Like, again, you have the money to use, just use that shit. I promise you, some of that money that you're gonna put towards to a collaboration or a skin or whatever, would definitely be hella good. It would definitely be proving some people wrong about certain things, right? To keep it a stack with you. Creating new maps and places to explore, awesome. I love exploration in this game. It's hella fun and it's hella rewarding, to be perfectly honest. Story, pretty damn good, y'all. Really trying to kick it into high gear after since, you know, Fontaine. So that's been really damn good. I got no complaints about the writing of the story where it's trying to go. There's a lot of things in the old times of the characters where, you know, they came out like obviously day one and stuff like that. That hasn't been touched up ever. And if you want to really keep the game going on and keep challenging its players and things of the sort, you definitely need to touch up on that shit too. There's a lot of things that Genshin can do, but definitely, you know, it's something that they need to consider, right? And as far as the player base goes, to be, again, perfectly honest, they shouldn't have all that type of power, but they really should get some type of word in though, right? But the last thing you need is basically them trying to tell you how to run your company or your game. And then the last thing we definitely need is them trying to basically ruin all hell with the game, or the company as a whole, which would end up killing Genshin as a legit game, which would honestly suck, and I would never ever forgive anybody from China ever again. But when it comes down to things, we'll see. But anyway, that's essentially all I have to say for this one. So again, hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the button, keep showing out. Also follow me on the socials, any places on the channel. Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until this pleasure, sign off. Have a blessed day.